You ready?
Yes.
Ready?
Yeah. I'll check this one as well.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, it's come up now. It's come up, I believe.
Yeah, even I've seen a notification.
Yeah, I've seen the notification.
There we go.
It's an advert. Why do I have an advert? Oh, there we are.
There we are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There we are.
right. Finally, the noise. Hello, everybody. We're live. We actually had a whole run. We had a whole practice run. I was chatting away, and then Unique was like, "We're not live," and I'm like, "Really?" Start over, which is probably a good thing.
We're recording.
We're live. We're recording. I'm sure we've recorded all of that fiasco, which is going to be great for outtakes. So anyway, welcome everybody. I have no idea how many people are here. I didn't get a chance to kind of have a look, but I'm going to see if I can log on my phone so I can also be part of the chat.
So far, there have been 9 people who have shown up.
9 people. Hello.
Oh,
Say hello to us so we know who it is. We want to know who it is. Put your name in there. Say hello. Where are you watching from? Put your country, put your city, and make sure that hello, Raven Watts 01. Hello. I love it when you speak back to us because it really allows us to interact with you. Know that we are serving you the good stuff. Apologies for being late. We were having techie difficulties, but we are we can't be good at everything here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. We might have to bring in some really smart people to help us out, but for now we have somebody who is brilliant. Anyway, I'm yapping on and on because I know you're all looking. You're saying, "Who's that beautiful lady in red? Who's that beautiful girl in red?" Well, that happens to be a black swan, by the way. You should know that by now. But we just want to say hello from myself and Unique. Say hello, Unique. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
There she is. You know, she's my partner in crime. No matter what happens, you know. She's gonna be caught dead or alive. So, you know, we go to prison, we're going together. So yes, we have, and Coach Yvonne, I keep putting coach in front of their names. We've decided not to use that, but Yvonne is recuperating, and I'm sure she's watching and enjoying watching us, you know, dying to be on this call. But when she's feeling better, we will bring her back. Indeed, she welcomes your prayers, so do pray for her speedy recovery. Who else do we have? Is it just Raven Watts that is brave to show up? Come on, girls. Talk to Mama Swan. Get a cuddle. Today, we're going to have something really special to give you at the end of this video. So you want to stay on till the very end if you can. And if you can't, do come back and watch the replay. We also want to ask you to share, because we want these lives. We know you're loving them. We know that those of you who do show up for them, who do want to watch them, we know that you absolutely love them, and we want to keep giving you this kind of live energy every single week on Tuesdays. But obviously, if we're not getting the views, then, you know, YouTube is going to deregulate our channel, and then it's just going to mess up the algorithm. So if we want this to last, we have to keep sharing and encouraging our friends and sharing the good news. So today, what are we on about? Today, we're going to be interviewing, sharing, allowing, let's put it that way, our beautiful Nonto. We call her Naughty Nonto for good reason.
No!
And while she protests, unfortunately,
she had got away with it because during the outtake, when we thought
I think we should let it die now.
She's like, I don't want to be naughty Nonto. I want to be good Nonto. But life would be boring if she was a naughty Nonto. No. We love Nonto because she's so real, and she keeps it so real and asks real questions. And we love her. And she'd always have all of the girls in the Black Swan Nation bursting with laughter.
I know.
And it was never the same call unless Nonto was on the call, because she's always up to something mischievous. But I love it. I absolutely love Nonto. And of course, you never know. Keep an eye on this special swan, because she might be one of your coaches soon, because she has really taken in and imbibed the protocols of a Black Swan. And I'm really excited for her marriage, because I know it's just around the corner. Alrighty then. So welcome Nanto to.
Oh, thank you. That was such an amazing intro. Oh my goodness. And I love you both.
You're welcome. See, she's a natural on camera too. So, you know, you don't have to do that much training. So basically, I was talking about, and I've been talking about, and we shall be talking about in the Black Swan Relationship Academy, our signature coaching system. This is something that I think we've kept as a little kept secret, haven't we, Unique? It's kind of something we do in private, and we've never really done it.
We mention it every now and then. We don't really talk about it that much, but it has to come out in the open now.
Exactly. So, you know, it's a system that I created after thousands and thousands and thousands of coaching sessions, talking to thousands of women, and seeing that in all of us as women and men, we do have certain fundamental stories, fundamental blocks, fundamental issues, perspectives, viewpoints that have to be addressed. I am yet to see anyone who's ever gone through the system and come out on the other side exactly the same. It is totally transformative because it ultimately handles the spine of your neurology, your psychology, especially when it comes to relationship, and actually even when it comes to life. So, you know, this is a course that I've developed over and over, redone. We've got the newer version now. I think it's the 3.0 version of it now, which is fantastic. We're very excited about it because it's very effective. Because the more we learn, the more we do. And so now that we have Unique here, Unique, anything you'd like to share about the Soulmate Attraction System course? Because I know you went through it. You were the first beta testing team, actually. When I launched it, Unique was amongst the very first beta testing people, and you were so eager to get on it. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your initial journey. What, you know, because you were super enthusiastic. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we ease Nanto in.
Okay, will do. So basically, I think like most of the Black Swans that come into Chengi's life, we kind of start off as clients. We start off as these lost little puppies, like doing all the wrong things you could ever think of, thinking that, you know, we've got this figured. Getting into relationships where you, like, now when you look back, you think, what was I thinking, you know? And I was on the first initial one. We did the beta testing, and you were doing it as a group.
Yes.
So you got to really make, I think Magdalena was there as well, and we got to really make quite a lot of good friendships within that group. But I think for me, it was so transformative in that you literally, I have forgotten that girl I used to be. Like, I look back at times. I think the other day, yesterday, I was reminiscing about how my ex-husband, there's so many things I found out later, but because I just didn't know how to navigate that space, the girl that he knew then is so different from the girl that I am now. And that is really due to doing the Soulmate course. And I think for me now, on the other side, because you sometimes forget the girl that you were, I now see it in the clients. When, like, there's this one client that we love her on Instagram. Like, so I think I was with her 2 years ago. I know she won't mind me talking about her, Val. Like, the smile on her every single day that I see her with her partner traveling the world, just like, she is, for me, I think I see myself in her. I see that smile that I now have because I did Soulmate. And even after that first, I think we did it for like, it was 6 weeks, 7 weeks, but it was 7 weeks then. And so I'm saying, you don't even remember, and you don't really see, and you can't pinpoint the transformation. But in that moment, when you look back, and I think the beauty of this is because it's recording, so you could always go back to the time when I was busy asking questions like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? Going on like dates with guys and all kinds of stupid things. I'll not mention on a live video. I'd almost forgotten that we're not in Swan Nation. So
Nanto's giving us she's giving us the Swan Nation vibes.
And that's the beauty of when you do Soulmate. Going back to my time, I think for me, it was just the understanding. understanding how wrong my path was, and understanding that the blocks, because sometimes you think that I'm really building this future and I know how to do it, because we all assume that, yeah, we're supposed to know this, right? But then when you start to understand that the patterns that is built on, should I say the foundation that is built on, is so shaky that there's no future that I will ever create that is going to hold until I address those patterns that were there from before. So I think for me, it was just that realizing that, you know what, if I just don't stop and work on myself and really do the work, there's nothing that I'm going to build that's going to have a solid foundation. So even if I want the relationship of my dreams, it will have nothing to stand on, because my patterns and my sabotage will keep coming up. If I want the job of my dreams, I'm not going to have it, because again, I'm still the same person who's going into that job. I'm still the same person who's going into that relationship. And when you change your building blocks, as it were, you're now building a stronger foundation, you're now building a stronger sense of self, you build a stronger sense of purpose, so much so that after that you feel like the world's your oyster. Now the world's your oyster, because now you can create anything and everything you want, in a nutshell.
She's given us the summary. Thank you, Unique. And absolutely, it is really about roots. It's about roots, because a lot of us really feel that, especially pretty girls. You know, I can see a lot of pretty girls on the screen, and I know they're pretty girls watching too behind there. We always think, oh, it's just a matter of swapping the guy, finding the right guy, right? We don't really think maybe there's something fundamentally wrong with me. Now, let's move on to our special guest, because I know everybody's like, you two, shut up. We hear you every week. We've had enough of you. Can we hear from that pretty new girl in the screen? So, Nonto, a question for you. What even brought you to the Black Swan Relationship Academy? What did you hear? What was the initial kicker? What made you think, I better speak to these people?
Well, it was in the middle of lockdown, you know, like dating has sort of been on standstill for everyone. And, you know, I was looking for answers on YouTube. I was like, okay, why are guys behaving this way? Why are guys behaving this way? And what comes up on my feed? Chengi. And I just loved everything that you were saying, Chengi. I felt like you really resonated with me so much. And, you know, I just kept on going back to your videos. Trust me, there's so many people that talk about relationships on YouTube, but there's something about you. I was like, okay, I really resonated. And I felt like your messages always made sense. And then one day I was like, you know, let me just make the phone call. And then I spoke to you. And then, you know, I was quite surprised, like, you know, when I spoke to you, you were asking about my child. I was like, why is she asking about my childhood? And it just brought back like a lot of like emotions that I hadn't dealt with. And you'd suggested going into like the group, the Black Swan group. And it was called something else before.
Chengi's Angels, I think it was, wasn't it? I think,
the Chengi's Angels, and there was elite coaching as well, wasn't there? Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, I didn't instantly go into the group. I was like, I'm sure I'll be fine, but I kept on making more and more mistakes my day life. I was like, you know what, just join the group. And I just love that there was coaches there, and there's like a community of like women that just like advise each other. There's like different lives where, like, you know, we talk about more sort of deep stuff in the group, and, you know, you don't feel judged, and, you know, people are there to listen and advise you, even tell you what to wear and what to say on dates. Because trust me, I had no idea. It might sound like something so silly and stupid, but there's some things where you don't even know what to say, what to respond when a guy says certain things. So that's
I'm going to tell
like
them a story, Nonto. I'm going to tell them a story, because everybody forgets when they were little chicken, what they were like, right? So I am mind. So exactly. So I know she won't mind me sharing this. I won't share any particular details. I just want to let the people know how scatty and, you know, Nonto was. So I've told Nonto, like, let's get you into the group. You know, at the time, the soulmate attraction system was going on. I don't think I had other I did have coaches, but we were kind of quite new. And Nanta was a little bit of, she wasn't all in. She kind of wanted, like most people do, want a game. Okay, everybody wants game. Just give me the game, and there's always that one guy, right, that's playing a better game than you. So you think, I won't play that game. So I remember minding my own business one afternoon, minding my own business. And I'm in my bed, actually, because I was really very tired. And then I get a panic text from Nanto. Nanto's like, I want to speak to you. So I'm like, I swear this girl. Now, anyone who's ever worked with me, for sure, I spoil everybody. I'm terrible. I'm actually really spoily. My clients know how much I spoil them, and I need to stop, right? I'm kind of like, oh, poor thing. So anyway, she calls me and she's talking about this guy, and I'm thinking, oh my God, have you learned nothing? And I'm telling her off, and she was taking it quite well, actually. I don't mean to, I was like, not Joe, honestly, how long are we going to do this for?
I actually remember you saying
that. and she was like, and this was after a few calls, but I knew for sure that for Nanto, a lot of her behavior wasn't because she was disobedient. And I think a lot of people misunderstand it. A lot of coaches think if you just give game, you will assume that people are being rebellious. But what I understood at the time, which is what saved her from being in the doghouse permanently, was that when we have patterns we can't break, there's something we really want to change, but we can't seem to change it, we can't seem to break a pattern, there's often trauma that is holding that pattern together. Patterns are usually created by trauma. If we feel this impulsion, even though we know better. So I knew that Nanto needed to do this. And it took you a while before you actually decided to do the soulmate, didn't you, Nanto?
Yeah.
What made you think you'd go a little bit deeper and do the soulmate? Because often people take a little bit of time. It is a higher investment, and it is 3 months of your life, and it is a lot of focus, and it is a lot of work. So you kind of didn't quite jump into soulmate. What was the reason? What made you? I know you did the self-study. So what made you think, right, maybe I need to take this step?
You know what? I just thought, what have I got to lose? I had tried everything in terms of what I thought was the right way of dating, and it wasn't working. And I was like, everything Chengi said is checked out. Let me just do it. And I knew like it was quite a bit of money, but I was like, it's an investment in myself, because I know a lot of people be like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of money, and they won't take that step. But I was like, let me just invest in myself and see what happens. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. Actually, I don't even think you told me that you were going to do it. You literally just told me you had done it.
Yeah.
Now, just rewind a little bit, Nanto. I don't know if you're comfortable, but I think we would all want to know. Can you remember the scenario that brought you to us? And are you happy to share the little story you had with that particular gentleman? What were you actually doing? You don't have to give us the details. And if you're not comfortable, we can move on.
No, it's fine. I think when I sent you that panic text, that's a guy that, we'd met on Hinge, seemed to get on quite well. And, it was still lockdown, but then people were still able to meet up. You could, I guess, have a date in the park, etc. But then he invited me over for a date over at his place. That went okay. And then after that, I knew deep down inside, after we'd met up like a few times, I wanted exclusivity, but I just didn't know how to communicate that at all. I just thought, oh, he would just say it, isn't it? When it feels like it's the right time, he would just say it, he would just say, oh, you're my girlfriend, aren't you? So that's what I thought. And then that just never happened. And, I had, at that time, slept with him. And, I then felt bad afterwards. And I kept on thinking, oh, for sure, now that that's happened, then for sure, I'm going to be his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And that just never happened. And I was just like, I'm seeing a pattern where it seems like I'm going for men that that are emotionally unavailable, because there was a guy before I found out some things that he was involved elsewhere, and there was another situation prior, and I was like, there seems to be something that I'm doing that isn't working. And for me, it just didn't all make sense. I felt like, you know, I could make right decisions. I had like, you know, family, friends around me. And I was like, why does this keep happening? And you just sort of fall into, am I sort of like, not a victim per se, but I almost feel like a victim. Why me? This keeps happening to me. And then people keep looking at you like, almost like, what's wrong with you? Because you're a pretty girl. How come you can't get the guy?
Yeah, that's really common as well. That feeling of, what's going on with me? Am I cursed? Is what this feeling that there's something
should be easy, but it's just not.
Yeah, and then you're kind of looking around and you're thinking, how come she gets to, but for me, it's like so hard. And then it's difficult because we live in a world that tells us, well, you're pretty, like you said, you're pretty, and you should naturally. But then what happens is we are pretty, we attract, but retention is hard, and we don't really know what we're doing, but we know that predictably something is going to go wrong, right? It's almost like you start the relationship and you kind of know that at some point things are going to go dodge, right? Because you kind of are aware of that pattern. So you were kind of at that stage where you were, you know what, I've decided that there's something here that I'm repeating over and over, and that's really important when it comes to attracting your soulmate. You know, you first have to have a very deep relationship with yourself to know your own patterns and become self-aware. Now, Unique, did you have a question that you want to ask Nonto before we move?
No, I think kind of going back to, I think we all have that one guy that kind of really makes us think. So what was the turning point for you? Like, what did you actually think, okay, you know what, let me just do this soulmate? Let's just do it. Was it just after that incident? Like, what was the situation that, like, you know, let me just buy it. I need it now. I need to do it now.
I think it was just a trail of events, and it just seems like, similar type of guys I seem to be attracting. And I was just like, you know, I genuinely need help. So that for me, I was like, you know, let me just do that. That was a turning point for me, because I think also it was a lonely time for a lot of people during lockdown, and I was like, you know, let me just do this course, and I'm very glad I did it, honestly. Yeah.
Brilliant. So tell us, what was the experience like doing it self-study? Because we'll have a few other people who've done it with a coach, some who've done it with a group, but I would love to hear your experience of doing it self-study. What was that like? Because it's a lot of work. How did you find that?
It's a lot of work. I think it took me, I'm assuming with the coach, it probably takes you 4 weeks, I think, or so.
It takes about 3 months.
3 months. Oh, wow.
Not longer.
I think with me, it took me about 2 months. And even when I gone past a month, I was like, goodness me. It was like, wow, that is a lot of work. And I think when I sort of started, I think at the beginning, if I remember quite well, I was asking about your sort of like your intentions. I was like, why is he asking my intentions? And so a lot of questions that it was asking you, like in terms of like your goals, what you're looking for. And I was just like, what is this really going to help me? That was genuinely what I was thinking. And I was like, goodness, I should have gone with the coach option. But I was like, you know, let me just take my time to go through it. And I sort of like went through it. I'm not going to lie, it was very, very emotional. There are many times I cried. I think I cried on like every like sections. I think you've got like 4, what do you call it? It's like 4 sort of chapters that you had to go through. And it was emotionally, it was quite a lot. But I also found there was a certain point, I know there's a certain point in the soulmate attraction where you're sort of like addressing the people that you feel like have hurt you in your life. And there's almost like this ritual that you have to do to like let go of that. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost as if I was releasing something and it was gone. It's almost as if after that, especially after that moment, it's almost as if, I don't know, this burden had gone off my shoulders. I don't know how to explain it. And I continued on with it. And it just made me look at things a bit differently, to stop looking at things in the sense of, why me? Why does this keep happening to me? But more in the sense of, you attract who you are. And looking more at myself, like, what am I doing? And I think at the time I was thinking, oh, you know, I want to lose a bit of weight. And that's when I got more into like fasting, because I know like that worked in the past for me. And made me think about money as well. As much as I wanted a man that was financially stable, you know, it's good for me to be making money for myself. Am I happy where I am? Am I paying off my debts? It was tough, because I had to look at things that I would never want to look at. And also addressing how I've looked at love life in general, like from my childhood, how I've seen like my auntie's love life, my mom's love life, that sort of thing, and looking at like, you know, am I doing the same thing? So it's quite interesting, because there is a point where you're looking at patterns. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's some patterns here. So it's some nice reflection to like look back and see like, okay, where things sort of go wrong. And also there's also a part where you start to draw your love life, what you want your love life to look like, almost like manifesting what you'd want, really. And that was quite amazing. And I can't tell you, you might think I'm just talking nonsense, but as soon as I finished, the type of men I was attracting, it's almost as if it was day and night. And I felt like I was attracting more men that was like emotionally available, and you know, and I felt more confident to like state like my desires, because it makes you also look at like what's important to you, what your core needs. And you know, it's something I never thought of. You know, you just assume, oh, the guy will know, or you just assume like, oh, it will happen by luck. You don't realize that, you know, you got some sort of control, you get to vet. Yeah.
I mean, you've touched on so many important points here. And you know, the one thing that, you know, I definitely love about what you said, because there's so much I can pull on, and I'm sure Unique will have one or two things as well that she would like to comment on. But for me, it's this realization that when we come through life, we're so dysregulated in our nervous system that we actually create a world that reflects dysregulation. You know, Nanto is just shared her story. And I want to tell you that when this guy prior was treating her like trash, I mean, trashy trash. Like, I mean, all the rubbishy things. And when we look at her, we're thinking, how can anyone even think to? But she had created a life from that was a reflection of her dysregulated state. And the sad thing about many of us is we actually live in a state of survival. And so we create lives that reflect that survival. So when we actually deal with our nervous system, when we actually begin to deal with our stories that anchor all of the dysfunction, our nervous system changes, and then we start to create the life that we want, because we're authors of our lives. We start to create the love we want, because we will always, without a shadow of a doubt, create the world outside that is a reflection of the world inside. There's just no two ways about it. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You know, it's a law. And if you're into the law of attraction, all these things is the same principle. Your outside world is a myriad of your beliefs, your trauma, your everything else. And so, you know, that was really powerful, because it was literally day and night. And I'm going to let you share a little bit later about the difference, you know, of the first guys. Because I know when you came into the group, Nanto was gushing and crying, and it's never happened to me before, you know. And that is quite a typical experience for anyone who goes through Black Swan, who goes through the Soulmate. Very rarely have I had a cult. Every single person that goes through Soulmate meets partners or a partner that treats them like a queen. I mean, the girls they've never had a man pay for a date. These girls have a man plan a date, pay for a date, bring them flowers, and they're just crying. It's insane to me, because they had created this reality of attracting these people. So when and it's a lot of work, and I'm so glad that Nonto said that, because sometimes when we say the self-study, people think it's less potent. And whilst it's way more intensive and brings quicker, faster results and deals with more things in depth when you work with a coach, even the self-study on its own is still transformative, because I kind of created it in such a way that it asks questions to your subconscious mind that your conscious mind can't bypass, right? So the reason why Nonto is having this experience by herself at home is because the questions are designed for your subconscious mind to extract information that ordinarily, a lot of the questions in the Soulmate, you will go through your whole life and never be asked them.
Yeah, true.
You know, literally, like, no one will ever ask you. So, you know, I love that you acknowledge that it was hard work. And I guess that's probably why we never speak about it so much, because nobody really wants to hear about the hard work. But it's the kind of work that I cannot imagine anybody doing. The Black Swan moment and the Black Swan transformation is irreversible. You just can't go back to who you were. So I love that you shared so openly that you had your moments of tears, and that ritual, that letting go ritual that we do, is so powerful. It's so powerful. It's more than just, oh, I forgive this person. It's so powerful, and every single person that does it has this moment where they're like, it's over, right? And like you said too, you started to look at yourself and think, my money. And this is another thing that happens as well with the Soulmate. It doesn't just touch your relationship life, it touches your career, it touches your money. People have changed careers through the Soulmate in my time. They've, you know, pursued their dreams in a way they've never had before. They've traveled the world. They've, you know, it's really coming into, I call it coming home, because we've so disassociated from ourselves. We've outsourced our happiness. And when we do the Soulmate, we actually come home and we get to really explore who we are. So I really love that transparency. Thank you for sharing that, Nonto. Do you have anything you wanted to add or ask, Unique?
I wanted to add on the fire ritual, and really kind of go in a little bit more on that, and the need, because sometimes we talk about forgiving and letting go, and so there's so many different rituals that we all do. But I would love, like, you're saying that you couldn't explain what it felt like. I would love you just to articulate even maybe one instance of what it actually felt like after you had done the ritual.
It just, I feel like sometimes you can hold on to, I don't know whether to call it resentment towards someone, like, you know, that's why such and such happened, because this person hurt me. And it just felt like a release in the sense that, you know, I'm no longer going to carry this. I'm going to choose to forgive and move on. It's almost like, you know, you're choosing yourself, you're choosing peace, to move on. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, and it's real authentic peace, right? Not just because because I've left the elephant in the room just over there. It's not bothering me. It's not bothering anyone. It's just over there. We're not feeding it or anything. We're just starving it over there. But what you're doing is actually opening the door, and you're letting the elephant out. Like, because before that, you would have written out all the things that happened in the situation for you to be able to get to a point where you resent someone, then you have to forgive them. What were the moments like even before the ritual for you, writing those letters?
I think moments for me, like before that, like regards to like the resentment, you just like have flashbacks of certain things that have happened, and sort of like hold on to that. And I've had like counseling before, and that felt different, because I feel like counseling, I'm not saying it's not helpful at all, everyone is different, but it's almost as if you're just letting out all the things that have happened and someone is there to listen. Whereas this is like getting down to the nitty-gritty and actually dealing with it, actually facing it.
Yeah. And that's really powerful, because, you know, you bring that up, because therapy and coaching are two different things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel like, you know, I've done therapy, I've discussed my childhood stuff with my therapist. But therapy, I think I explained on a video prior, is really about regulation and balance. Coaching is about getting you to the other side. Yeah. So coaching is by nature more brutal, for want of a better expression. It requires that we face our giants. Like literally, we're taking you from one side of life to another. And that is a terrain, and often is dangerous, and often there are bridges that would have to be crossed, and there are, you know, dangers and perils, you know. And in therapy, we can keep you on this side of your life, but managing it, you know, regulate yourself on this side. But
it's more like describing, you know, with the white elephant, it's more like learning ways of how to feed it and brush it, and just so it can live and have your space, and it can live and have its space. Rather than
and then have language for it, and have, you know, explain why we have the white elephant, and, you know, coping, and, you know, behave this way when you see the elephant, right? That's all kind of good coping mechanisms. It's not useless, but coaching is for people who want to change their story, who want to change their lives. And there's no change in your life without confronting. And a lot of us are happy to confront. We just need a system to confront with, because you can't just confront haphazardly, right? We need to know what we're confronting, why we're confronting it, how to confront it. And this is what the system helps us to do. So Nonto, give us an example before we end of your typical dates now. How do they look? What are you now standardly expecting? And what do you standardly experience, you know, with men? And give us also, you know, your experience with your girlfriends who haven't been through this process. And because I know you were saying to me once, you were like, gosh, my girlfriends. Right? I know it can be really frustrating when you've actually been through the experience, but tell us first, you know, your experience with men now. What is it like? Where are you at? How come you haven't found somebody after doing all of this? Tell us where you're at now.
Well, I'm still dating, talking to guys, but it looks very different for me now in terms of, you know, I've got my core needs that I look at and my non-negotiables. So I don't sort of like waste time. Whereas before, I guess what you'd call the nice girl before, you know, you want to play nice and say, oh, you know, let me give him a chance. Okay, I don't like that he smokes, but let me just stick around. But that's not going to change the situation, is it? So that's changed in terms of that, where I feel a bit more braver to vocalize things I normally wouldn't. And I've learned to listen more to my intuition and what dating sort of looks like. I feel like I'm meeting more gentlemen, guys, like in terms of, so one of my dates, maybe like a month ago or so, he got like an Uber for me to get to the date. I didn't even ask him, he just got it for me. And then like, I think was it a day or two, he got flowers delivered to me just to say, oh, thank you for another day, you'd like to see me again. So I was just like, oh, that's really sweet. And then if you compare from before, where I'll be thinking, you know what, maybe if I, you know,
if I call him, maybe
if I give him time, I'll be his girlfriend. But no, not at all. Yeah. This is a guy where it's just been a first date, and that was that. And I feel like, you know, I am able to pick up on sort of like amber, I guess what you call amber red flags quite soon. And I know what sort of things to ask, what to say as well, and to try and remain in my femininity. I know sometimes when I want to get arguments, to get into like a little debate, but I sort of like stop myself and be gentle and ask the right questions. So it all looks very different for me. And I feel like with my friends that haven't done it, sometimes I get the sense that some of them feel like maybe I'm being judgmental, etc. when you're trying to give advice. And I've seen like a lot of my friends still fall into the same traps that I was falling into, you know, getting with the guy and thinking, oh, eventually, you know, he will say, we're exclusive, exclusive. And that never happens. Yeah. But then the funny thing is, I've had one of my friends, I was like giving this sort of like some advice I learned from like Black Swan. And then later on, she came to me and said, you know what? Out of all my friends, thank you, because you were honest with me. Even though I don't agree with, some of your dating advice, you were actually right. Yeah. So it just changed my perspective. So not just the soulmate attraction, also being part of the Black Swan group as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. I was actually going to ask you something, if that's okay, Chengi. Because you mentioned how you are now in tune with your feminine side. How did doing the soulmate, and then now you experiencing being feminine, how did the soulmate kind of contribute towards that?
I feel like there are some parts that I started working on in terms of, I think, like, like creativity and being more vulnerable. So that made me go into more my femininity, my feminine side. Because I feel like sometimes when you've been through like so much, you're constantly like on survival mode, or you're constantly like fighting. I don't know. But for some reason, I just felt more at peace in general. It's like I just moved so smoothly. There was just this peace within me. And it's something that I do all the time. I've noticed that, with soulmate attraction, actually it's so funny that you asked me to jump on this this video. I was actually thinking, I haven't done it for a long time. You know what, let me do it, because I feel like, before I jump into like if I haven't done it for like a long time, being like a year, 6 months, I just like to refresh myself. Yeah.
I love that. And that's such a good way that you put it, because the way that the soulmate works is so subliminal that you just experience yourself differently. You don't know when, which module, what time exactly, but because it's a system that builds on top of, it builds and stacks your nervous system, if you like, in a healthy way, and soothes it as you go along the process. And then what I find typically, and this is where the predictable results are typically, and I know for the coaches as well, because Unique has taken a lot of people through it, and all the coaches have taken a lot of people through it. Typically, women don't know when they shifted into their feminine, because they just stopped protecting. They started feeling more worthy and worthwhile. And what I love about Nonto's story is the reality that it's not about, I did the soulmate, got married. Now we have people that meet their husbands 3 weeks into the soulmate, sometimes straight after, even before they finish. And some people a year, 2 years, because we're all very different. The key with the soulmate is that Nonto can actually date now and really choose a great guy without her having to deal with all of the trauma and all of the anxiety of, gosh, I'm getting old and what's going to happen. She's building a whole life, and every dating experience leaves her with a little bit more value, because the last one she just told us about, which is not 10 years ago, she got flowers just so she could agree to a second date, right? This is how, not the last time I spoke to Nonto when she was in the group, this is the experiences she was having.
Becoming normal.
Right? Men were driving half across the world. I mean, it's crazy what happens. But if you're being treated like that, you're in no hurry. You want to make sure you get the best possible mate. Nonto is very young, very beautiful, with a lot to offer. So she is taking her time to really find the right mate. She could settle with any of her suitors right now, but she just wants better. And that's okay, because she's got the time for that. And here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, we're not desperate for marriage. And marriage is actually not my personal goal. I understand that it's a lot of people's desire, and it's like a little carrot. And we do have a lot of couples in the Black Swan Relationship Academy that happened because of the Black Swan, but it's actually not my personal goal. My personal, take for success is the person's transformation. And, when Nonto joined BSN, the Black Swan Nation, she got a lot of game, a lot of tactics, a lot of tools, because we give a lot of tools, a lot of skills, a lot of scripts, a lot of stuff goes on in the Black Swan Nation. And many people have that. She was watching a lot of videos before she joined Black Swan Relationship Academy. But what was missing was that she didn't have the self-worth to follow through. She didn't have the self-awareness to follow through. She had too much baggage to even think of following through.
It's that foundation, isn't it?
Exactly. So I'm going to ask you one last question, and I don't know if Unique has another, but my one last question is, where would you have been without the Black Swan Relationship Academy? Right now, where do you see yourself had you not actually embarked on this journey?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Gosh, probably lost somewhere. I don't know, girl. I don't know.
Some dead end relationships still waiting for a guy to decide that you're worthy.
Most of us still in the same relationship, still waiting for the guy to make you his girlfriend.
Yeah. I think I would have carried on dating the same type of guys, the emotionally available guys, and constantly asking why and thinking, I'm the victim, what's going on. Yeah. And also, I also think, bring it back to like the soulmate attraction. I think also what I loved about that course is it doesn't just focus on looking for the love of your life. It also focuses on your goals. So it makes you realize, what, it's beautiful to end up with the love of your life, but also if you don't, you're also achieving great things as well in your life. Yeah,
absolutely. So I've had women go through it and go, I don't want a man anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, they could have sworn when they came, Chengi, I'm old, I want to get married, I'll die if I don't get married. And when they go through it, they're like, not only will I not die, but can I just take a year or two to enjoy my best life?
Yeah.
Like, can I just take time out to enjoy my life, please? I've had that happen so many times after the soulmate, where women have actually found their soulmate, and their soulmate is you. When you find true love, it's finding love with yourself. And that's so, one of my clients was like, I've never met this woman. I'm just not ready to offer her to somebody yet. You're just kind of jealous for who she has evolved into. I don't want to share her yet. I want to enjoy her. And she quit her job. She had an amazing job. She quit her job. She went traveling for a whole year. She met an amazing guy along her journey, and she didn't even want to settle with him. We have Black Swans who don't even want to get married. They don't. I'm like, why? They're like, Chengi, why? Why would I get married? Right? This course is so transformative. And I love that you were saying, Nonto, because like I've always said to anyone who does the course, it's a working document. You shall forever do the soulmate, because you evolve and change so much that you need to come back to the course and take that older girl, the more evolved girl, through it to see if how she started was authentic and true. And I personally, when I'm in because I date in phases, I have seasons of dating, then I don't. But when I'm ready to be like, right, I'm ready to meet somebody, first thing I will do, without a doubt, is go through the soulmate. I'll put myself all the way through it. And within a week, 7 days, I'm in a relationship with somebody amazing. And that's how it works out for me. So it's almost like my little magic tool when I kind of clean up my energy, remember something myself. And of course, it doesn't replace having tools. It doesn't replace knowing what to say, what to do, which is where the Black Swan Nation comes in and our mentoring packages, because you still need the skill set, but you're more able to administer it. Did you have anything you'd like to ask or say?
Yes, and literally taking on from what you just said about how you can literally, because it's a working document, you can continuously use it because once you buy it, once you purchase it, it's yours for life. You are a member of the Soulmate Facebook group for life. You can continue to ask questions in there for life. And what, like you're saying, because Nonto did mention that you said you're just going to do it again, isn't it? You're just about to do it again. Yeah. And I love the fact that there's never an end to the other side.
Yeah.
It's like you're now here on this side, but because your mind is so open up, you now see another potential other side. So can you imagine what the other Nonto will be like 6 weeks from now when you finish doing this version, because obviously now, and the thing is, you also get the updated version. So now you're going to be doing the 3.0 version, where it's got more stuff added in there as well. So what advice would you give someone who has done Soulmate before, done it a self-study, and is now wanting to just go back? Like, what do you do to prepare yourself to do Soulmate again?
Just get on with it. Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it, girl.
Just do it, girl. Just do it. Just do it.
I know. And I like that. I love that.
Yeah.
Even when before you've actually done it and you're listening to this for the first time, it's the same advice, right? Just do it.
Yeah. Just do it. Honestly, you won't regret it. Just do it. Just do it. And yeah, if you're not on the Black Swan as well, it just helps to also have the advice and also do the soulmate attraction as well. Yeah. Because like you're saying, Chengi, like, you know, as well as doing the course, it's good to also know like what to say. Yeah. And just like, you know, to be guided and supported through this dating world, which is forever changing.
You know what? I think I'll have to I'm gonna have to meet with Nonto and give her the stick, because she's feeling, I'm getting the Mama Swan vibes. Who wants to know the Mama Swan vibes? Mama Swan vibes is when I start to feel like somebody's about to get married. That vibe never lets me down. And every time I say it, they're like, oh, whatever, Chengi. And then they're like, so, you know, some of these naughty swans that like to disappear from Mama Swan until I have to hunt them down. But we definitely need to cement that. I think you are in a beautiful place now, and you know, the soulmate journey is so personal, so unique. And in the next few weeks, we're going to be bringing people who have had different outcomes to the soulmate, but you will see the thread in every single one of them. So remember what I said, let's keep in touch with the series, because at the end of this series, those people, that person that is able to tell me what the thread is in all of the stories, will get something special from the Black Swan Relationship Academy, potentially something life-changing from the Black Swan Relationship Academy. So if you've started this series, I want you to keep watching it and hearing the stories of all the other Black Swans who have gone through this. So many of them we can't count, and so many of them are living their best lives right now. We can't even get a hold of them.
I know.
And you know,
who I know will be watching later.
Exactly. And we might even get, you know, one or two who are actually going through it right now. And you know, the fantastic thing about the soulmate is you just start experiencing miracles as you go along, like by module 2, by module 3, oh my God, this happened and that's happened and that's happened and that's happened. It's so unblocking. It's so unblocking that even before you get to the end, you're experiencing so many wins along the way. For me, it's fantastic. I love getting on that call and what's happened today, because so many amazing things begin to happen. So I don't want to talk you ladies to death, but I do want to say thank you so much to Nonto for just being such a great sport as usual. And you know, I've got a good feeling about Nonto. I really feel like she will be an incredible leader in the Black Swan Relationship Academy. We need people like Nonto. I'm excited about her dating life, and I've got a feeling we'll have her back in a few months telling us about the new love that she's found. If I've got to deal with it, because I might have to take my Mama Swan stick and beat her. And sometimes I have to do that. But thank you so much for popping on. If any of you've got any questions, please go ahead and answer. And we do have the soulmate for men as well, so do leave a question. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them right now for you. Unique is having a look at the chat. I'm looking at the chat. So do go ahead and ask us any questions. We'd love to answer them while we're here. And if not,
there's really a nice comment from Robin Hood. It's wonderful to it's a wonderful discussion, and never heard Black women talk like this before.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Welcome to our world. This is all
This is the Black Swan universe.
Yes.
We are very unique beings. and we shall multiply. But for now, we're very unique beings. And when you meet a Black Swan, you really meet somebody super, super special.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and we love each other too. We're just such a lovely, beautiful community. For those of you who are thinking, oh, we don't have bitchiness at all in our community, probably
Yeah.
wouldn't be allowed. We would just have to block and delete. You know, we don't.
Yeah.
It's just really is important to just have that really, really safe space. So before I forget, what we're doing for this series, the Soulmate series, and you know, we're going to be going through some of the modules talking about, you know, we've got so much planned for you because we really want you to understand the system that we use. We want you to be comfortable, competent, to know that it's proven, that there are people that actually gone through it, to know how it works, what you can expect, because it is a big decision, because you will have to put your life on pause for 3 months or 4. You will have to really spend a lot of time inside of your body, inside of your stuff, and it's worth it during and after, but we really do want you to know what is invested and what's involved. So anyone who decides to get the Soulmate Light Non-Toe and you want to do a self-study, and you think I want to do a self-study, we are offering you a 1 hour, 30-minute free discovery call, because we want you to be able to also have the option of working with a coach, ask some questions, one-to-one, share your story, because we want to know your story. So we're doing that for you as a gift from us to you. So if you go to the website blackswanrelationshipacademy.com, you'll be able to enroll in the Soulmate Attraction System course. You'll have to fill in a bit of a form to make sure that you're right for the course, because it's not, you know, just available to anyone. You do have to fit the criteria to do the course. And once you fill in that form, you'll have an opportunity to enroll in that course, and an opportunity to actually make a call and speak to our coaches for free, so that you can really, we can set you in place and you can decide how you want to proceed moving forward. And for those who've bought the self-study, who've done the self-study, and who want to supercharge or really just refresh, again, there's the option of doing it with a coach, obviously at a discounted rate, because you've already got the course. So you can inquire as well and ask if you want to do it with a coach. That's an option for you as well. So all you have to do, again, is go to blackswanrelationshipacademy.com, and you know, if you need to send us an email, that's admin@blackswanrelationshipacademy.com, if you need to kind of get your bearings around that. But we are poised, waiting, and excited to take as many Black Swans through this transformative journey that changes your life completely. And I had a little bit of a giggle when Unique was telling me her story, because I remember that Unique, and I remember she said, Chengi, right now I can't afford it, but this is what I'm going to do. She was so determined to be on that course. And that determination has really led her into becoming the beaming diamond swan that she is. Really, you know, the person that we're all kind of wowing every time we see on screen, or, you know, the person that achieves all these results. You know, I don't want us to think that you have to be in this kind of place where you, like Nanta said, it's a lot. It felt like, okay, it's a bit of an investment, but you don't have to be like rich, or you just have to be committed to changing your life. And that kind of energy, it creates abundance in your life. And it's just been, you know, I loved that about Unique. I love that she didn't give herself an excuse not to be a part of the transformation. I loved that she found value and found a way to exchange value for value, you know, and that then catapulted her into a whole new stratosphere as well, in terms of her design, her work, her business. You know, it was just so, you know, for her, because for me, it's really about the heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. Are you ready to change your life? Are you ready to shift your patterns? Are you ready to truly live now? Are you ready to truly love now? Or are we just going to play this game? Are we going to keep playing this swap the boys game? Because we don't want
get more game to swap boys.
Exactly. More game and swap boys. Swap that boy and get the same game, right? Are we really ready to do the work? So that's really all I have to say. Did you have anything last words to say, Nanta, before you go?
Just go and do it. Go and do it.
Go do it, says Nanta. Go and do it. I agree. Go and do it. Come and do it. Come and do it with us. We love to welcome you. We'll love to love on you. We'll love to take you through it, hold your hand through it, change your life. And, this year we've got 2 weddings that we're getting on a plane to go to 2 weddings in US a day, right? And we want to be at your wedding. We want to, we want to be deploying the coaches. Okay, you can go to Canada, you can go to the USA, you could, we'd love to get on a plane and come to your weddings. And it's just such a wedding filled year. So look out for definitely the wedding pictures and everything, because we'll be selfieing this whole thing to death. Some of us have been invited to people's honeymoons. It's crazy.
Honeymoons, wow.
I know. Unique has been invited by her clients to the honeymoon. I'm like, that's crazy. Okay, fine.
Around.
she won't be, but she can go and have lunch. So many things.
Have lunch or dinner.
And then leave them to it. But it's the family that we create. Every one of our swans wants us to share in their joy, whether it's sharing their pictures with us or sharing their special day with us. We are those coaches, as long as it's in our power to travel, to show up for you. We will do in every way that you want us to show up for you, because it's our joy to share your joy and to feel like we had a part to play in that journey. So a lot of exciting news. Everybody, I want you to keep Nanta in your prayers, because Mama Swan's gonna beat her, and then by the end of the year we'll have something going on, something cooking in the love life. It's really not hard to find love. If you work with any of our coaches, give my coaches a year and you'll find love. It's not just finding love, it's the quality of love that we want healthy love lives. We want lasting, meaningful, quality relationships.
Absolutely.
Exactly. If it's a man you want, we can get you a man. Goodness, that's the easiest thing to do. It's easy.
Out of all of this, that's the easiest thing to do. It's everything else. Because you're now reminding me of there's a client that we had, and even during the process of Soulmate, when you ask yourself those questions, she discovered she wasn't that keen on marriage. She's happy to live with her partner. And when you get to that point where you can give yourself a permission to do all those things that you've always wanted to do, that's what I'm saying. She's this very client that now all I see is just Instagram pictures and gleaming smiles from ear.
And guess what happens to all our swans? They just get rotten. I don't have a bride. I really don't have a bride. Anyone who's gone through Soulmate, I don't personally have it. I know you don't in your client list. Women that don't get spoiled. We just don't have that. We don't have it. Like, it's spoiling. It's holidays, it's flowers, it's gifts, it's adoration, it's love, it's engagement rings. It's really that, and just beaming women online. So it's about that quality experience that you can then make permanent, rather than trying to kind of drag a poor guy who's not interested in marrying you down the aisle only so that you can come and do some divorce coaching with us, right? Because that's not the work that we like to do. We do it because we have to support swans, but we don't like having to coach you through heartache and devastation and pain. We want to coach you before you get devastated, so you can choose well and build a family that you love. If a family is what you want, if marriage is what you want, it's not everybody's choice, but that's really what we're here for. So it's really exciting. It's an exciting season, and stop dating, do some work. Okay, I think we've pretty much said it all. I can't see any more questions here. Thank you so much, Robin Hood. And also we do help men too. And it's always a pleasure to work with men. They are, we have the Soulmate for Men, and it is equally as transformative. I don't know if I can drag one of my handsome boys here to talk to you about it. I have no idea. One can try, but one can try to drag the men here. And our clients are top end, high end men. They're men who are very wealthy, very successful. Just men that are dreamy, but again, having the same patterns, having the same problems, having the same triggers. And, for me, is as much of a joy to work with the men as well. I know the brand was built for women initially and still is largely for women, but you know, we cannot ignore the plight of men. So again, if you're a guy and you want to work with the Black Swan Relationship Academy, feel free to do so. You will be able to have a discovery call, and we'll be able to support you through the soulmate, and support you through your dating, and support you through your marriage, and support you through a divorce, and support you through whatever you need. So you don't be afraid. You're a Black Swan too. And I believe I've said everything there is to say. And
Pretty
is there
much
anything you'd like to
say? Jump in the soulmate. Like, not afraid.
Do it. Santa says, just do
it.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you everybody for joining. We will be doing another one. We'll have more of our beautiful Black Swans, some who are already married, some who are getting married, some who you know, are still single and living their best lives and dating amazing men, just so that you can see that it doesn't really matter. You're going to win. Like at the end of this process, there will be a WIN, because that's how I created the process. I wanted wins, and I was specific about the wins that I wanted in this process. And when I don't get those wins and I don't get them as fast as I want, I recreate the course and I keep adding to the course and I keep pumping it until I get the wins, right? So whatever happens with the Soulmate Attraction System course, and I always say to my clients at the end, look, you know, when they're like, oh, I'm making this investment, I don't know if it's going to work. At the end, I always say, so was your investment that much? And they're like, I would do this again. I would do this. I would pay this and double, right? Because a lot of what we're kind of holding on to, what you get in return, is just, you know, it's you can't quantify it. But we're excited to be able to talk about, I get excited about the soulmate. And so next week we'll be back again, and we will have different guests, maybe one, maybe two, and we will be once again taking this journey with them. What can I say, everybody? Take care of you. Love you lots. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Till next time.